Okay, so our first flow is going to take place entirely down on hands and knees on the mat. So if you need like a towel folded into a strip for your knees to rest on for some cushioning, that's totally cool. If you need to take a break, dive back in when you're ready. If you need to move slower than I'm moving, move slower than I'm moving. But what I do really want you to do is take your time moving in and out of these things. Really feel all the bits and pieces during, before and after the end of the position, in the middle of the position. Really feel your breath, all that jazz, okay? Let's really embody this practice, okay? So we are going to start off on our hands and knees. Doing your best to stack your hips over your knees, your shoulders over your elbows and your wrists, placing the weight of your upper body really evenly throughout the full surface of your hands, including your finger pads. And then just visit your spine for a moment in your mind and just feel for its shape. You can start to play with some just little dips and curves just to kind of refamiliarize yourself with the landscape of your spine, coming back to table. Okay, so on an inhale, we are going to let the belly drop. Pelvis is tipping forward so that the tailbone rises, chest faces forward, your gaze is just gently forward. And just notice if anything about the way that your weight is distributed in your hands, your elbows, your shoulders, your knees has changed. As you exhale, you're going to start to curve your spine, coming through table, winding up in a cat back, letting the head hang. I'm going to keep my head up a little bit so that I don't get muffled with my mic, but you're just going to let your neck totally relax. Your head can hang, it can shake yes or no. And again, I just want you to notice maybe something shifted, maybe, and not necessarily in a bad way or a wrong way. Just notice how cat feels in other parts of your body than just your spine. On your next exhale, starting to come through table again, coming back to cow. And as you move from cat to cow, really feel that process, each vertebrae through your spine, what it feels like as it changes its shape, as load in your body changes and shifts. And just observe if you have a hard time remembering to keep your elbows a little soft. Maybe you keep finding yourself hyper-extending or locking your elbows. Okay, we're going to come back through table. We're going to get ready to shift our weight just a little bit into the left knee so that we can curl the right toes under. And we're going to start to slide that foot back, okay? Holding that for a couple of breaths and just paying attention again to the shape of your body, how it feels, where load has landed. Has anything changed in your hands, wrists, elbows, shoulders? Is your spine still in tabletop? We're gonna bring that knee back in underneath. Coming back into some cat and cows, inhaling to cow as we dip the belly down. Exhaling as we come through table into cat back, letting the head hang nice and relaxed and heavy. Coming back to table, we're going to shift that weight into the left knee again. Curl the right toes under, send that leg straight back. Play with how much you straighten that knee and notice if that changes anything in your experience. So we're just going to flow in and out of that a few times. Cat, cow, shift the weight, send the right leg back. Experiment with sending the foot a little far back, the knee stays a little bent, and just notice if that affects anything in the other parts of your body differently. Maybe it's a little more comfortable, maybe it feels a little more manageable than when you try to totally straighten the knee. Okay, another cat-cow. And this time we're gonna shift our weight into the right knee. You're kind of taking this at your own pace. You don't have to do this exactly the same speed I'm doing. I'm just giving you a general idea of how many times we're repeating something and what side we're on and what we're doing, okay? So noticing how this might be different on the left. Does your right knee support you differently while the left leg moves compared to how it happened on the other side? Are you able to pick up anything about why that might be? Where does it happen in your body? What feels like something is struggling? Or what feels stronger? A lot of this stuff kind of turns into some self-assessment in a way. And if we just fly through movements, or we just do them once, or we don't experiment with things, we have a hard time kind of narrowing down what's going on or truly recognizing what's happening in our body. Okay, so let's come back to tabletop. We're going to do another couple cat-cows, and then we're going to pause in table. Okay, so in table, we're gonna do some C bending. So basically we're going to let our hips sway out to the side like you're trying to touch your right hip to your right shoulder. So we're just lengthening a bit through that left side of the body. Okay, come back to your normal table, and now we'll swing those hips out to the left a little bit. Left hip reaching towards left shoulders and vice versa. We're just introducing some variety in movement. You can come through, do that again on the right. Back to the left. Okay, come back to your normal table. We're going to just step our knees back a little bit. We're going to lower ourselves down to the floor, bringing the forearms just under, elbows are stacked under shoulders. And we're lifting our chest and upper abdomen off the wall and just looking to the floor just in front of your mat, okay? So a little bit of spinal extension. And I just want to revisit the idea of whether or not you do anything intentional with your pelvis in this posture. So for a moment while you're here, and you may already be doing this, just let all muscular effort in your lower back and your hips and your legs just go, okay? And just notice what happens in your body. Now, if this is really, really uncomfortable, you don't need to stay in this posture. You could just support your chin on your hands so that you have the teeniest amount of spinal extension. If you know that you need to tuck your pelvis to not have pain in your low back, please just go ahead and do that. But for those who have a fairly healthy low back and aren't experiencing any discomfort when they let everything relax, I just want you to notice what happens with the weight in your body, where it lands. I'm noticing that there's a lot more happening in my shoulders. My shoulders are taking a lot more of my upper body weight because they're the only thing really holding me up. And I'm very aware that in my low back, just above my pelvis, there's some sensation happening. Not a bad sensation, but kind of a scrunchy sensation. There's stuff kind of being moved towards each other. And I could see that if someone had low back tendencies towards low back pain, this might be uncomfortable. So I want you to play with that tucking of the tailbone. So the tailbone moves down and between your legs. Your pubic bone grounds into the floor, okay? And just notice how when you do that, what changes. I personally feel like there's less weight in my arms and shoulders now, and my low back feels longer, but I am still getting that nice spinal extension. I am still in Sphinx pose. I am still kind of upright through my upper body. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to bring our hands down to the floor. You can rest your forehead on the backs of your hands or stacked fists. Just let everything relax. I'm keeping my head up once again for mic purposes, but I would like for you to just let everything relax and soften through your spine and neck. Okay, and then we're going to come up into Sphinx one more time. See if you can find that pelvic tilt right away. Just play what feels best in your body. Get familiar with the shapes you do, what kind of result you get from it. Okay, and we're going to lower. We are going to slide our right leg up out to the side. Again, you can have your forehead resting on your stacked fists, back of your hand, whatever. We're just going to hang out here for a moment in a one-legged frog on the right. If you notice your body tensing or guarding, because maybe this is a lot of hip rotation for you, a lot of hip opening for you. Like we went over in the last video, you can build up your torso off the floor. You could have your knee not quite as pulled up. And we're just going to be here for about another 5 breaths. All right, you can start to send that leg back down alongside the left one. We're going to bring ourselves back up into Sphinx. So playing with that tilt in the pelvis. How does that feel in your low back? Shoulders are open across the chest. Okay, we can let ourselves back down. We're going to do our one-legged frog on the left, so you can mimic whatever setup you needed on the right if you need it on the left as well. Few more breaths here. All right, you can start to send that left leg back to lay alongside the right. We're going to pop back up into a Sphinx just for a moment, just practicing finding that supported spinal extension that feels good in the low back, so that you are familiar with what you're looking for, familiar what your body likes you to do. Okay, bring our chest back down to the floor, hands come just below the shoulders. We are going to lift back up into hands and knees. So however that works best for you and your body. Okay, coming back to our table, we're just going to, after doing all that, we're just going to revisit some cat and cows. So again, exhaling on your cat. So this is cow, inhale. Exhale to cat. And notice how your cat feels right now. Because we just did a lot of spinal extension. Cow is also spinal extension, so it's going to feel kind of familiar right now, but cat is going to completely counterbalance. Right, feel that? Cat's going to completely counterbalance. Let's just do a couple more C's again. So from tabletop, right hip swings towards right shoulder swings towards right hip. Come back through center. And you can do this really slow, just once or twice, or you can do it a little quicker so that you can go back and forth a couple more times. Whatever your body's kind of craving. And that might be different today than it is another time that you do this practice. That is a-okay. Okay, come back through center. We are going to end today's practice in a long hold child's pose. So you can have a legs closer together child's pose if you want to. I personally prefer more of a wide-legged child's pose. So I bring my knees out to opposite sides of my mat a little bit. I have my big toes sort of touching each other in the back, shifting the bum back towards the heels. And then you're going to let your hands walk forward, forehead's going to come to the floor, and we're just going to sink in and relax. And I'm not going to say too much because once again, I'm going to have a mic pretty close to my face. Child's pose is not always glasses friendly. While you're here in this child's pose, really take nice, slow, yummy breaths and feel your rib cage expanding through your whole back on both sides. You may want to put some cushions under your torso to build you up if you're finding this is a little deep or it's a lot on your hips. But right now, I really just want you to let that spine relax and be long and feel that breath move through your body. A supple rib cage needs a supple T-spine and vice versa. So we really want to make sure that when you breathe, you're not just breathing in your abdomen all the time and changing the pressure in your abdominal cavity. It's really in your rib cage that surrounds your lungs that you want to see the most movement when you breathe. We want that rib cage to be able to flare and open and widen and then retract and come back. All right, you can start to lift your head, shifting your weight forward so that you can get up to hands and knees for a moment, just to transition through to sitting back down. And just take a moment to kind of notice how things are landing in your body, particularly your spine. We did a fair bit of spinal movement today. And just like I said earlier, feel free to practice this flow as many times over as you want. You can come back to the earlier flows even when you're later on in the program. And just remember, it's about doing what your body needs and not expecting things to just progress after doing something once. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed that. There will be another video coming out that focuses on those four movements that I broke down before. And then you'll be getting another video with another 4 movements.